We don't need no truth, got plenty, now it grows on.
Good evening, Giselle, and thank you for joining us on today's episode of ICOLLECT THRIFT interviews. So where do we start? I mean, where did you start thrifting? When did you get into the habit of thrifting? What made you fall in love with it?
I think it was after high school when I went to varsity, like literally I realized that I need to collect clothes because varsity I have to wear clothes every day. So I thought, you know what, actually I need to do something, and I think thrifting was the only option because clothes are expensive.
Funny how you answered my question before I actually asked you the question. I was just about to ask you. But
Okay.
hopefully you can give me something more elaborate, something more detailed. Do you thrift because you don't have another option, or is thrift just your favorite medium of buying clothes?
I don't only thrift, so I buy from everywhere, but I'm trying to also just drive this sustainable fashion thing, and upcycling and recycling of clothes is a really big thing for me, so that's one of the main reasons why I do thrift.
Okay.
So I don't thrift just because, you know.
Just because it's the
Yeah.
cheaper option. Okay,
Yeah.
understandable. And what would you say inspired you most or drove you to that point where you're like, you know what, I'm actually going to start thrifting and buying my clothes in thrift shops instead of just going to a normal a shop or just online or whatnot? What inspired that?
I think also like the people that I looked up to, people like DJ Dua, people like, what is that group called? Okay, I forgot what the group called, but like they always used to wear vintage clothing, and I really used to look up to them. So I just thought, let me also just try this new thing and like venture into a new style, because it's not really something that I'm into, but like it's literally encouraging me to like try different styles. So that's
Okay, do you see yourself thrifting in the next 5-10 years? You think you're gonna stick to
yeah,
that, or
definitely. I feel like thrifting is the more like low-key term, because I feel like all over the world they thrift. I don't know what they call it, but like they thrift, whether it's just like passing down second-hand Louis Vuitton bags, it's still recycling clothes.
yeah.
So yeah, I feel like I'll definitely do that.
Okay, and what is your opinion on the stigma that most people who thrift, if not all, thrift because they don't have money to afford better clothing or better style? What is your take on that stigma?
I honestly, if that's what people are doing, that is okay, because honestly, not everyone has the means. So I feel like thrifting is also giving people that don't have a lot an opportunity to have clothes, wear designer clothes, you know, and just also like try new things and be creative with the clothing that they're wearing, because a lot of the time you have to be creative when you're going thrift, because you can't just get there and like, yeah.
And just
Stuff.
And then what do you think about the thrift culture in SA? Do you look at other countries, they see across the borders and stuff, and then do you think SA has the capabilities or how do I put this, the potential to reach that stage whereby we make thrift like a normal thing, where it's not stigmatized or discriminated against? Or
Yeah, I think we're getting there slowly. Now I feel like people are thrifting, a lot of people are thrifting, a lot of young people, literally everyone is thrifting now.
And do you think, if you say that everybody is thrifting now, do you think that us as millennial parents or just the millennial generation, do you feel like this is something we could pass down to our kids and be like, yo, dude, when I was a teenager or I was a child, this is how I'd go buy my clothes? Do you think this is something we can pass down to them, and do you think it will still be relevant in those days?
I think it will. Fashion always has a way of recycling itself. Styles, things that my grandmother used to wear in her time are things that are like in right now. So I think it's just a thing of like driving this whole thing of recycling fashion, making sure that fashion is sustainable.
Okay, so let's talk about your wardrobe for a second. What are your 3 favorite pieces of items in your wardrobe right now? Items that you thrifted specifically.
Jeans, these are my favorite pair of jeans. I thrifted these jeans, my favorite jeans. Bags, I love handbags, you know, small handbags.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I love them. That's also my favorite item. And bucket hats.
Bucket hats. Very interesting. Okay, so do you think if you looked at your style, the way you dress, and if somebody came to you today and be like, yo dude, I've got 1, 2, 3 coming up, I have a shoot there, I have an audition there, and I need you to style me, do you think you could actually live up to that?
It depends also like what kind of style they want, and like if they're very picky in the things that they want, but I feel like I'd be able to pull it off.
So you would not mind going into like styling and what?
No, definitely not. I'm very open to like trying new things and like just also pushing myself. as a person, as a creative, to just try new things and push boundaries. So yeah.
Okay, so when you thrift, do you have a certain style that you have in mind before you go to a thrift store? Do you have in mind that, okay, I want to go out and I want to find an outfit that would look like this, or do you just go out and you go, you know what, I'll take this and that and I'll put together and make an outfit? How do you go about it?
I literally just make sure I find key pieces that I will never find anyway, and then I'll put them together when I get home. But like, I don't go there with the intention of getting a specific thing, unless I'm looking for like handbags. Then I always go for like the little small bags. Yeah.
Okay. So, in other words, one would say that you don't have a specific style. Your style is spontaneous.
Yes.
You play around with clothes. You play around with whatever you have. How would you describe yourself when it comes to the thrift industry? Would you describe yourself as a stylist, or just somebody who plays around clothes, or just somebody who loves clothes, buys them because they love them, or?
Yeah, I think I don't want to like box myself, so I'd rather say that I'm a person who loves clothes. So I'm literally open to any style, so I don't like boxing myself, because I know that when I see something that I like it. So I don't really have something that like pushes me to say, okay, no, I only like this specific thing only. Yeah.
Okay. Do you see the culture of thrift having an impact in the creativity of South Africa? If not, do you think there's ways that we can work around that? And if you think that there's ways we could do that, how would you go about doing it?
I think thrifting is creative on its own. The fact that you actually going to a place where people wouldn't find beauty in, and you'll pick a gem and you'll style it the way you want to, or you like upcycle it and like cut things, put things together. Already that's creativity on its own. So I think people are doing really well in terms of like how they style their outfits. Things you'll be like, what is that thrift? No way. Like, they actually pull it off so well. And I think because people just have this idea that like thrifted stuff are like dirty and like look a certain way, I feel like we're slowly changing that stigma, and people are now like looking forward to actually going to thrift, you know.
Okay, that's very interesting. Thanks for your insight there. And I just actually want to understand something. When it comes to the thrift culture, like you said, a lot of people say, no, it's got this dirty look, it's got this funky, this cheap look. Why do you think people see it that way? Why do you think people look at it in that perspective?
I think people look at it in that perspective because we're so used to this thing of like, when you want something, you go to a retail store, you walk in, lights, mannequins, everything's literally there in front of you. But now when you thrift, you literally have to go and dig, and you can think of like MTN, literally not the best place in terms of like looks and smell. You think it's a mess, but totally literally that's where you find the gems, you know.
So how often do you do this thrift thing? Is it like just you wake up one day and you feel like, oh my god, I need to go thrift, or you have days where you're like, okay.
But I try like more than like twice a month, but usually it's like once a month. But I try, if I can, then it's like twice, depending on like what I'm looking for also, and like
So one would say that your wardrobe is dominated by thrift items, or it's just like,
it's just a
is there like
it's just
cool, a duality of the two?
Yeah.
Right, that's awesome. Okay, do you see yourself, let's just say maybe 10, 15 years down the line, owning a thrift store or a boutique where that would sell like secondhand clothing or pass-me-downs for people like yourself?
I don't think I'd have a boutique, but like I would collect and like maybe like give them to people, or like rent them out so people can use them to style pieces. So I wouldn't really say I'd sell them, because I think it's a whole process to thrift, like making sure you're getting different sizes and like making sure that it's, you know, user friendly in terms of like the quality and like, you know, all those things. So yeah, no, I don't think I'd have like a boutique. Too much work.